Good morning students. Today we will continue with rocks and minerals. Today we will take metamorphic rocks. Metamorphic rocks are created by physical or chemical alterations by heat and pressure of an existing igneous or sedimentary material into a denser form. Metamorphic rocks are formed from igneous or sedimentary rocks. They are more denser. Due to the action of plate tectonics, compression stress and shearing force over a long period of time, rocks can be warped and deformed, causing them to be compacted into small volume of space. As a consequence, metamorphic rocks are always more dense than the original material, also less susceptible to erosional breakdown. As the earth plates move over geologic time, a plate containing igneous or sedimentary rocks gets subjected to another plate. The shear weight of the material above it can cause other rock to undergo metamorphism. In some cases, heat from interiors can melt the rocks slightly. This process is called contact metamorphism. Example of metamorphic rocks: schist, converted basalt, quartzite, compressed sandstone, and marble. Marble is compressed limestone or dolomite. The sample shown here is sample of gneiss, the product of metamorphosis of granite. Once again, I will explain metamorphosis. Metamorphic rocks are created by physical or chemical alteration by heat and pressure of an existing igneous rock or a sedimentary rock into a denser form. Due to the action of plate tectonics, compression, stress, the rocks shearing forces over a long period of time, rocks can be warped and deformed, causing them to compacted into a smaller volume of place. As a consequence, metamorphic rocks are always more dense than their original material and less susceptible to erosional breakdown. ಓಕೆನಾ. ಮೆಟಾಮಾರ್ಫಿಕ್ ರಾಕ್ಸ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಅದು ಈಗ ಮುಂಚೆ ನಾವು ಓದಿದ್ರಲ್ಲ, ಸೆಡಿಮೆಂಟ್ರಿ ರಾಕು, ಇಗ್ನಿಯಸ್ ರಾಕು, ಅದರಿಂದನೇ ಆಗೋದು. ಬಟ್ ಅದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ತುಂಬ ಗಟ್ಟಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಅದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ತುಂಬ ಹೆವಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಇದು. ಓಕೆನಾ. ಅರ್ತ್ಸ್ ಪ್ಲೇಟ್ ಮೂವ್ ಓವರ್ ಜಿಯೋಲಜಿಕ್ ಟೈಮ್. ಪ್ಲೇಟ್ಸ್ ಕಂಟೈನಿಂಗ್ sedimentary rock may be subducted under another plate. It may be subjected to another plate. The shear weight of the material above it can cause undergo metamorphism. Some cases, heat from the earth's interior can melt the rock slightly. This process is called as contact metamorphism. Example for metamorphic rocks are schist, quartzite, marble, limestone or dolomite. Next is foliated metamorphic rocks. The common foliated metamorphic rocks are slate, phyllite, schist and gneiss. Slate is fine grained, dense and brittle and is metamorphed form of shale. Slate can be seen in the west of Pater Spring in Pilot Ridge, Box Elder County. Slate is the first kind of rock. It is fine grained, dense, brittle and is a metamorphed forms of shale. Slate can be seen in the west of Pater Spring in Pilot Range, Box Elder County. Next, phyllite. Phyllite is similar to slate but has satin-like sheen on its foliation planes. Phyllite can be seen on the north and south flanks of Grizzly Peak, east of Willard, Box Elder County. Schist has the same satin-like sheen as phyllite but has a coarse texture due to its high mica content. The little willow formation is a schist. that is visible on the north side of mouth of Little Cottonwood Canyon, Salt Lake County. ಟೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಬುಕ್ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಓದ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ಮಕ್ಕಳ ಇದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ. Next, gneiss is a high grade, high heat and pressure metamorphic rock in which foliation results from layering of different mineral groups, which give this rock a banded look of dark and light minerals. Good examples of gneiss is visible in Farmington Canyon complex in Farmington Canyon and at Frey Peak on Antelope Island, both in Davis County. Non-foliated metamorphic rocks. Non-foliated metamorphic rocks. The non-foliated metamorphic rocks are quartzite and marble. Quartzite is typically a metamorph form of sandstone. Unweathered quartzite has a sugary looking surface. Individual grains are deformed, interlocked and fused together. When the rock breaks, it typically breaks through the grains. Some quartzite formations retain the original bedded structure such that when the broken they form flagstones that are commonly used in landscaping or as veneer for buildings. Quartzite is quarried from Raft River and Grouse Mountains for use as a building stone. Can also be seen as Storm Mountain in Big Cottonwood Canyon, Salt Lake County. Marble. Marble is a metamorphic limestone. The calcite crystals in marble are large and interlocking, form a dense crystalline rock. Marble of desert limestone and Gardison formation can be seen in Big Cottonwood Canyon, Salt Lake County. Marble is also kind of stone. Next, underground natural resources. Underground natural resources. Some rocks contain metallic and some non-metallic minerals. They are called ores. Example, hematite, bauxite, pyrite, calamine. These metals are used to make utensils, machines, furniture, wires, coins, rails and aeroplanes. Some rock contains metallic and some non-metallic minerals. They are called as ores. Hematite, bauxite, pyrite, calamine. These are used in utensils, machines, furniture, wires, coins, rails and aeroplanes. Next, first kind of underground natural resource is coal and petroleum. Uses of coal. Coal is a black colored solid used in railway engines as fuel in olden days. ಕೋಲ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಇಜ್ಲು, ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಮುಂಚೆ ಟ್ರೈನಲ್ಲಿ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡೋರು, ರೈಲ್ ಇವಾಗೆಲ್ಲ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಕೋಲ್ ಆರ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಯೂಸ್ಡ್ ಇನ್ ಥರ್ಮಲ್ ಪವರ್ ಪ್ರೊಡಕ್ಷನ್, ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಕೋಲ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಲಾರ್ಜೆಸ್ಟ್ ಸೋರ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಫ್ಯೂಲ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಟು ಜನರೇಟ್ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಿಸಿಟಿ ವರ್ಲ್ಡ್ ವೈಡ್. Coal is used in manufacturing industries for heat and power applications. Coal is used to make steam for heating. Coal is used as a coke. It is also used as a coke in steel making. Stella uses ide coal and petroleum. Stella use ide. Next, petroleum. Crude oil is used to make petroleum, a fossil fuel that is extremely important in our everyday lives. It ensures that we are able to get to the office and shops without having to resort to walking. This fuel also ensures that we are able to purchase food for our families that has been delivered to the store. In short, the petroleum supply had to cease. The word, as we know, would literally come to a complete stop. Petroleum ಅಂದರೆ ಭೂಮಿ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ, ಅದನ್ನು ಕ್ರೂಡ್ ಆಯಿಲ್, ಅದರಿಂದ ಡೀಸೆಲು ಪೆಟ್ರೋಲ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ತೆಗಿತಾರೆ, ಕ್ರೂಡ್ ಆಯಿಲ್ ಅಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ. ಕ್ರೂಡ್ ಆಯಿಲ್ ಈಸ್ fossil fuel is extremely important in our everyday lives. Petrol ಇದೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಜೀವನ ನೆನೆಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗಲ್ಲ. Petroleum makes sure that we get to office and shops without having to resort to walking. The fuel also ensures we are able to purchase food for our families that has been delivered to the store. In short, if petroleum supply had to cease, the word, as we know, would literally come to a complete stop. Use of petroleum. Petroleum makes the world go round. Petroleum is instrumental in saving lives. Food supply relies on petroleum products. Many consumer products contain petroleum products. Next we will discuss about conservation of natural resources. Conservation is achieved through measures adopted in favor of natural resources in order to increase the longevity and improve usage patterns. Some such measures are rational use of resources. Rational use of resources is one of the concepts in conservation of natural resources in essentially undisturbed condition because they are of scientific interest, aesthetic appeal and have recreational value. Preservation also serves ecological purpose by maintaining the function of total environment. For example, protection of forests assures sustained yield of water into urban reservoirs, protection of estuaries perpetuates ocean visionary. But rational use is not just preservation, it also implies the direct use of resources for their commodity and recreation value. Thus, harvesting of food, forest crops, livestock grazing of grassland, catching field and hunting wild animals can also be considered as a legitimate part of rational use of natural resources if they are carried out in such a way that the resource is perpetuated and not endangered. Next, sustained yield. Concept of sustained yield is involved in these activities. This means cropping the annual surplus of individuals so as to not to endanger the breeding stock of game animals and fish. Similarly, tree cutting and grazing of grass should remove only the annual increment and no more. Sustained yield is like is ಅದು ಒಂದು ವರ್ಷಕ್ಕಾಗುವಷ್ಟು ಮಾತ್ರ ಬೆಳ್ಕೊಂಡು ಅಷ್ಟನ್ನೇ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ತುಂಬ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇದು ಮಾಡಬಾರ್ದು. ಅನಿಮಲ್ಸೇ ಆಗಲಿ ಕ್ರಾಪ್ಸೇ ಆಗಲಿ ಆ್ಯನಿಮಲ್ಸ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಟು ನಾಟ್ ಎಂಡೇರ್ ದ ಬ್ರೀಡಿಂಗ್ ಸ್ಟಾಕ್ ಆಫ್ ಗೇಮ್ ಅನಿಮಲ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಫಿಶ್. ರೀಸ್ಟೋರೇಷನ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ಇರೋ ಜಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಕಿ. ರೀಸ್ಟೋರೇಷನ್ ಈಸ್ ಅನದರ್ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಆಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಕನ್ಸರ್ವೇಷನ್. ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ವೈಡ್ಲಿ familiar conservation measure is essentially correction of past careless activities that impaired the productivity of the resource base. Deforested areas and mined and barren lands can be revegetated with some effort. Depleted animal and plant population can recover if they are accorded protection. This measure is familiar in modern soil and water conservation practices applied to the agriculture. Restoration is possible, however, as long as the species are protected and genetic diversity of life is maintained. When species become extinct, the restoration of past condition becomes impossible. Protection of natural resources from commercial exploitation is to prolong their use for recreation, watershed protection and scientific study. This is the concept underlying the establishment and protection of parks and reserves of many kinds. Reutilization is the reuse of waste materials, as in the use of industrial water after it has been purified and cooled. The same process becomes the recycling if the water material requires minor treatment before it can be used. Substitution. An important conservation measure has two aspects. Use of a common resource instead of a rare one when it is used for same purpose. The use of a renewable rather than non-renewable resource when conditions permit. Allocation concerns the strategy of use, the best use of a resource. For many resources and their products, the market price decides as to the use a resource is put, but under certain instances, general welfare may dictate otherwise. The allocations of reserve resources may be controlled by government or through the use of quotas, rationing and outright permits. Last but not least, integration in resource management is a conservation measure because it maximizes over a period of time and sum of goods and services that can be had from a resource or resource complex such as a river valley. This is preferable to maximize certain benefits from a single resource at the expense of other benefits. So we should protect land and animals, we should protect trees, we should protect all the minerals, we should not overuse anything. This is the concept of this chapter. Today we learnt about metamorphic rocks formed by sedimentary and igneous rock due to extra heat and pressure and we studied about foliated metamorphic rocks and non-foliated metamorphic rocks. Like marble, slate used in construction of buildings, and we also discussed about coal, petroleum, and uses of conservation of rational use of resources. And we also learned how to conserve natural resources. How to conserve natural resources. We learned how to conserve natural resources also. Thank you, students. Read well.